Good morning. So today we are going to be looking at using commas to separate items in a list. And we're going to understand when to use a comma to separate items in a list and what word it could replace. First of all, remind me, what is a comma used for? Just have a think for a few moments. What would a comma be used for? So a comma is used in a list in order to separate the items. It replaces and in order to give the reader a break in their reading. So, if we were asked to write a sentence including a list to describe this picture, we have a picture of a castle. So we're going to start the sentence with the castle. Now the sentence that I have come up with is the castle was tall and wide and had many turrets. Okay, so first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight where I've used the word and. I've got and there and there. Now remember, when we get to the end of our sentence, we need to use the word and. But before that, we cannot use the word and we can replace it with a comma. So, the castle was tall and wide and had many turrets. So this and I need, that needs to stay there. This and I can change, and I can change it to a comma. Okay, so then that would become the castle was tall, wide, and had many turrets. So it enables me to take a breath after tall and separates the two words tall and wide nicely. So now I would like you to have a go. I'd like you to write me a sentence including a list to describe the shark. So if you start with the shark and write me a list of items to describe the shark. Pause the video now and have a go. Okay, so there's lots of different ways that you could have done this. This is one that I've done. The shark has large teeth, pointed fins, and a long tail. Okay, so my list of items are separated because I've got large teeth, separated by a comma, pointed fins, and then a long tail, which is my last item in the list, therefore I need and. Next one. So this time I'd like you to write me a sentence including a list to describe the mountain. So you don't need to do that many items in your list. You could just do list three things to describe it like I did in the last one, or you could do more if you wanted to. Just remember when to use commas and when to use and. So pause the video and write a sentence to describe the mountain, please. Okay, then let's have a look. So this is my example. So the mountain was tall, white, and foggy. So we've got tall, white, and we've got foggy. So they're my three things to describe the mountain. So I have separated tall and white with a comma, and then I have separated white and foggy with the word and. Next one. Okay, so this time we need to rewrite these sentences with commas in the correct places. Okay, so my hobbies are football and skateboarding and tennis and climbing. My parrot is red, blue and green and yellow. I like fish and chips and pizza and Chinese food and curries. Okay, so let's work through the first one together to work out how we need to do it. So the first thing I would do, I would identify my ands, because remember, commas can replace and. So my hobbies are football and skateboarding and tennis and climbing. I would then decide which and can stay. So remember, the and at the end of your sentence can stay. So this one here before climbing can stay where it is. So that must mean that these two would need altering. Pause the video now and have a go at changing these three sentences to put commas in the correct place. Let's have a look at the answers then. So, my hobbies are football, comma, skateboarding, comma, tennis, and climbing. Okay, so you'd need 2 commas there and leave the and where it is. My parrot is red, comma, blue, comma, green and yellow. So they'd missed the comma from between red and blue, so it didn't quite make sense. And the last one, I like fish and chips, comma, pizza, comma, Chinese food and curries. Just be careful if you've got fish and chips, that's one thing together, isn't it? Because you have fish and chips from the shop. Okay, so make sure you don't put a comma in this one here. It was there to trick you a little bit. So for this one, we need to tick the sentences where you think commas have been used correctly. So I will read them out and I will put a pause where the commas are. Then all you need to do is on your piece of paper, I would just write A, B, C and D and then I would tick or cross next to it. So A, the goat ate grass and potatoes, grain and apples. B, they searched all day for butterflies, birds and insects. C, the drawer was full of pins, pens, staples and stickers. And D, they kept donkeys and chickens. Pause the video now, see which ones you think are correct. Remember, if you want to read them out again, put a pause wherever the comma is. Okay, let's have a look then, shall we? So sentence B is the only sentence where the commas have been used correctly. In A, you would need a comma after grass as well. So it would be the goat ate grass, potatoes, grain and apples. In C, you don't need the comma after of because that is not part of your list. Pins is the start of your list. And in D, you wouldn't need the comma as well as and in your sentence. Okay, what I would like you to do now is I would like you to write a list of 5 things you would need to camp out for the night. Write your list as a sentence. So I would start my sentence with, to camp out for the night, you will need. And then you can list the items at the end of your sentence. Pause the video now and have a go. Okay, let's have a look then. So, to camp out for the night, you will need a tent, food, water, a torch and a fire. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. I've made sure that my and goes at the end of my sentence and I've made sure to separate each of my items with a comma instead of the word and. And lastly, I'd like you to write some more lists of your own. So first of all, like you to write 5 things you might find in a supermarket, in a market. And then I would like you to say 5 things you might find on the moon, remembering to separate your items with commas and putting an and before your very last item. Good luck with that, Year 6. I'll speak to you soon.